Good day, it's Dr. McLean with Vital Energy Chiropractic, and one of the most important things that you can do as we get older, if you want to remain healthy, is to take care of your joints. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. We're going to talk about from a physical level. And it's frustrating to see when you see somebody that's gotten older and they're having joint issues. Their spine's not moving the right way, their knees aren't moving the right way, and you can see the restricted motion, and when it restricts their motion, it slows them down. They don't feel as comfortable on their feet. And we know from earlier research that when the spine's not moving the right way, it affects brain function. So it starts to affect things like memory and focus and moods and all the things that we don't want to see. Now, the interesting thing is when we see somebody like that, we blame that on old age, we blame that on arthritis. But the reality is that when somebody has those type of physical restrictions, they didn't just wake up one day, one day they were normal and the next day they woke up and couldn't move the right way. It happened slowly over time. It was insidious. And one of the forefathers of the research on this was an orthopedic surgeon named Tapio Bideman. And he was one of the ones that did one of the leading studies that took people from when they used to have surgeries like a knee surgery. What did we do? We'd put them on bed rest. This is back in the 80s. And then in the late 80s, the study came out. And now what do they do? Somebody gets knee surgery, what do they have them doing? The very next day, depending on the surgery, but the very next day they have them up moving right away because they know, and we know now from many, many different research studies that the worst thing for a joint is to be restricted and not moving the right way. Well, if that's true for your knee joints, how is that not true for your spinal joints? And this is one of the things that we test. We check people's range of motion. If we know that they're restricted, we know that's a bad sign for their future. So this particular study was done it was published in JMPT, and it said the residual effects of what they called chronic pathomechanics, and that just simply means the joints were not moving the right way, was fibrosis, contracture, adhesions, deformity, and structural derangement. So that means when your spine's not moving the right way, that your body will purposely start to create what they call adhesions and contracture, things to actually move it less. Why does it do that? One of the reasons for stabilization, because they know if there's already an injury there, we don't want that injury to get worse. So that's what your nervous system is thinking. The problem is over time, it can create massive degeneration in not only the disc, but the joints of the spine. And once you get there, it's very hard to go back. And so we want to be able to stay on these things as we get older. You don't want to wait until you wake up one day again, you start to feel this restriction. As I said earlier, it's insidious. It happens slowly over time. Now, I went on to say, in this study, it's very interesting, it said, many of these consequences are preventable with regular kinematic spinal examination and corrective chiropractic care, meaning we need to check these joints on a regular basis and see how they're moving, see what type of restriction there is there, and if needed, do an adjustment. That's why the biggest benefit of chiropractic care is regular chiropractic care, not just getting adjusted when you have pain, because a lot of times, like I said earlier, the person that has this restricted motion, has this arthritis, they didn't just wake up one day and have that. Arthritis takes years, sometimes decades, before it is evident on an x-ray or even physically to feel. So one of the best things you can do for your longevity is getting regular chiropractic checkups and adjustments when those are needed.